Hail and greetings all, it's Ragnarok here, and today we're going to dehydrate some cranberries. Cranberries are one of my son's favorite treats, and as you know, they're kind of hard to get at certain times of the year, especially fresh ones. So we're going to go ahead and dehydrate a bunch. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your berries and go ahead and wash them off, get them nice and clean. And while you're doing that, go ahead and put a pot of water on to boil because we're going to blanch them real quick. So now we have our pot of nice boiling water, and what we're going to do is just dump our cranberries in. Now we'll end up letting them sit in the water for about 10 minutes. You want to make sure that you take the water off the stove because you're not trying to cook your cranberries. You're simply blanching them. So we'll go ahead and let these sit for 10 minutes, and while we're doing that, we'll get the dehydrator ready. Now, a bit of forewarning, if you've never dehydrated berries before, it can be quite messy, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and line my trays with parchment paper. So I showed you how to do this before. It's really easy if you just go ahead and trace your tray onto the parchment paper. And now what I'm going to do is cut out 3 more of these. In order to do that, I'm simply going to take this stencil that I made, and then cut 3 more pieces of the same size. Since this is a 4-tray dehydrator, I need 4 rings. Now that we have our 4 sheets on top of each other, I'm just going to go ahead and staple the corners. So that way, I'm able to cut out all 4 at the same time. And they're all the same size, just like the trays are all the same size. Now what you're going to want to remember though is to cut slightly inside the outer line here and slightly outside the inner circle. So that way it fits into your tray. I'm just going to go a little bit, an 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch in from my exterior line. And then we're going to cut a little bit outside of the interior line here for our circle. And now we have 4 rings that we can go inside each of our trays. Now it's not perfect, it's not rocket science, it's just helping you keep your trays a little bit cleaner. And now our cranberries should be done blanching. Blanching, that is. Alright, so now you're going to take each individual berry and inspect it. While you're inspecting it, you're going to go ahead and pierce it. Just one little slice and set it on the tray. You don't want any berries that are soft, as in rotten, or out of their prime. Any molded or blemished berries. Now is a perfect time. See, this one's got a little squeeze to it. Yeah, we'll save that for the chickens. You only want to dehydrate the best berries possible. And this is the prime opportunity since you have to pierce each one. I'm going to be here for a while, so I'll bring you back for the next step. Now, I did want to mention that you can sweeten your berries. As we all know, cranberries are a bit tart. You could sweeten them before you did this by adding some sugar into the water. But I don't want sweetened berries stored. I want wholesome, original, organic cranberries. If I'm going to use them in a recipe and they're going to need to be sweetened, I'll take care of it then. I'm not going to add an extra step into preserving this food. All right, so here we are, 6 trays in. I'm going to go ahead, mount these up, and then I'm going to start the process. And we're going to put them at 150 for probably 12, 16 hours. I'm going to stick it on 18 just in case, but I'll keep checking them as we go along. And here we are, checking our dehydrated cranberries. And what I'm going to do is just go through and feel them. As you can see, these are nice, crispy cranberries. But what I'm doing is I'm looking for the ones that aren't quite dehydrated yet. They still have a lot of give to them. And I'm just putting them off into a pile because I'm going to go ahead and put them back in to finish dehydrating. Now these have been going for a good while now. Way over the 12 to 16 hours that were recommended. But they'll dehydrate until they're ready and our product is finished. So I'm going to go ahead and sort through these and I'll show you what I'm doing next. So out of 6 trays, I ended up with this many dehydrated cranberries. Let's say a little over half a jar. But 2 trays of berries that are still not ready yet. Now I've, read that and heard people say that, oh, they don't have to be dried solid. Well, in my book, if you're dehydrating something, it needs to be dried solid. And I'm not going to take a chance of putting something that still has moisture in it into the jar with the dehydrated ones and having it end up molding or turning bad. So I'm going to go ahead, put these back on the dehydrator, and I'll wait until they're done. But until next we meet, be well.